Maurice and welcome to Tanks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, it's entertainment purposes only. The investments we're going to talk about today will be Ethereum and Bitcoin. So happy Saturday to everybody and happy Memorial Weekend for the US folks here that are on this channel. So with respect to Bitcoin currently today, it's down about 6% so far as I'm recording around noon time on the East Coast in New York City. And with respect to Ethereum, it's currently down about 8.11% so far. So I'm going to go through a technical analysis to look out for what are the resistance level that we should be looking out for going forward, right? Are we going to see more of a sell-off from here, or are we going to see more of a rebound in the coming days? And also I'm going to give you guys my level of resistance level in case you want it for the dollar cost average or build your position for the first time, and my price target for the respective investment opportunities as well. So stay tuned, stick around. Moving on to the technical analysis, I'm going to begin with Ethereum first because this is the fans' favorite, so I want to make sure that we have this covered first. So starting with the technical analysis, you can see that ever since that sell-off that we had on May 23rd, we subsequently rebounded because this is a very strong psychological resistance level at the $2,100 or anything around like the flat numbers, like the 2,000 numbers, are typically a mental psychological resistance level that investors typically like to invest in. And also with respect to a lot of computer trade order that subsequently rebounded subsequently, you could see that the V-shape was relatively sharp from there, right, on the May 23rd, and then May 24th, we pumped that, with respect to that day. I remember that was on a Monday. I can't believe it's already, a week from the Monday already, that Ethereum was up about 35% that day specifically, right? That was a great day for a lot of crypto investors that bought the dip on that day. And subsequent to that, we bounced at this about like the $2,800 level or like the $2,750 level, which as I recall, from the previous videos that I mentioned, that's the psychological resistance that we've had tested, multiple times here in the past, right? With respect to, more of a less substantive resistance level we've also formed before. However, that level is becoming more and more consolidated because we've been testing it now. So that means we're gaining more and more market appetites around this level. However, we subsequently broke that because yesterday was a Friday and people are, I guess, enjoying the weekend, enjoying the Memorial Day. They want to be, not being, stressed out. They don't want to be caring about like, is their price point going up? Is their price point going down, sideways, whatever, right? That subsequently sold off from there, right? And we tested this level yesterday around like the $2,450 level, right? Which is like another psychological resistance level that we've had so far, right? And ever since that, we're selling off a little bit more today on Saturday today, and we are currently flying off the cliff right now, basically, right? And you could see that the first resistance level that we see here is currently where we're at right now, right? And you could take a look at the resistance level is relatively strong based on the $2,300 level that you could see here, right? You could see that we've tested this once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7, 8 times, and then a couple of times here, but I wouldn't call these a consolidation, but in total in consolidation about 8 times so far. So that's a relatively strong resistance level that we have here, which is the reason why we're kind of floating at this level right now. So if you were to buy now, right, or anywhere around like the $2,450 level, that's a fair price point for you to get into, knowing the fact that you could see that with respect to RSI, we're already highly oversold. And with respect to the MACD, we are stretched out a little bit more. However, the stretch is relatively overly sold already, and the internalized pressure of the bottom, we're pretty much there already. So I don't foresee us to be further like crooked down even more, because that would just drive a psychological outlier with respect to the supply and demand dynamics in the market, which wouldn't make sense if we were to go down even more. But there's a possibility for us to go down, right? And contingent on not breaking down this level right here, which is we're testing right now, the $2,450, the $2,300 level, we have a 50-50 chance of breaking down into the further consolidated resistance level, which is the $2,100 level or the $2,000 level, which is as you know, that's a psychological mental resistance level that we'll have right now, right? So I would say today is a definitely opportune time for you to buy in to further dollar cost average if you bought in around like the $2,750 level, which is a fair price point to get in. We believe this in a long-term macroeconomical perspective. And again, right, so the first level was 2,750, second level is a 2,450 or 2,300, which is the level that we're currently testing right now. And if we go down even more, we'll go down to the $2,100 or the 2,000 flat number level, right? Which, I will give that a very good certainty that that's a very strong, attractive price point for you to get in to build a position from there. And if we even have a more of a down crash, right? Something has to do with like the foreign exchange side, on the international water side, like Chinese investors or one of the big giants investors that are from overseas decide to sell off because of this whole down sell already. I think the likelihood would be relatively slim, knowing the fact that this is a very strong base that we're forming on a platform. For us to go down, the next level will be going down all the way to the $1,750 level, and I think if we were to get there, you will basically destroy this whole MACD trend that we're seeing right now, knowing the fact that the gap is relatively large already with that one-time Black Swan event. And you could see that how stretched out and how abnormal this looks in comparison to historical trends, right? Which was basically normal supply and demand dynamics. This was mainly driven by one of the large corporations that sold, driven by obviously a computer system trade as well, and that subsequently made a glitch across the system that made a huge rebound from there, right? So that was a major black swan events that occur on that specific day. So for us to do that again, the probability would be relatively low, right? Because it just doesn't make sense right now, on top of the fact that we have already sold so much already. So I feel fairly good with respect to this current level, and I'm going to continue to dollar cost average and buy more, maybe 1 or 2 Ethereum today, around these levels. I actually plan on doing so after I do this video. And if we get down to the $2,100 level, I would just probably buy another 2, 3. If we go down even more, I'll probably buy 10 Ethereum straight up from there. So moving on to Bitcoin with respect to how we're trending right now, you could see that we're basically trending according to the trends that we kind of discussed yesterday already with respect to my technical analysis. We're basically trending according to plan with respect to this line right here, the $34,000 level, right? We had this one-time Black Swan event crash, back in May 19th, which was on a Wednesday, and subsequently had another one that was on a weekend again, right, on that Sunday, which we were down by like 30% at one point, and subsequently we had this huge pump, a V-shaped recovery that occurred, right? You could see that how that basically destroyed the whole logics of the whole MACD in a supply and demand dynamics, and subsequent to that we bounced back up to normalize the inertia and the internalization that we've had at the bottom of the ocean again, right? So ever since, we are kind of testing at this level right now, and this psychological resistance level at the $34,000 level is a relatively strong one. You could see that, right? We have tested this 1, 2, 3 times. We currently test this four times right now, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. So that's a relatively strong one, right? So if I was you right now, and if you're one of the Bitcoin investors that you have bought up, at these levels here, and you have some more cash balance on the side, I wouldn't mind dollar cost averaging at these levels here, right? Because these are relatively good levels for you to buy in, right? For you for a dollar cost average. And if we break down the $34,000 level, which, again, we've been kind of floating at these levels for quite some time now, or for about a week so far, right? That if we to break that, the next level again will be retesting the level that we visited back last weekend, around the $31,000 level, right? Which again is the psychological resistance level. Anywhere around like the flat numbers again, like the $30,000 level, the $31,000 level would be a fair price point for you to get in. However, if we have even more of a black swan event, right? And that will be very unlikely. That 5%er. We might even get down all the way to the $24,000 level, right? But again, for you to do that, you will basically have to go within the Earth crust, way below this waterline right here, right? And again, we are already highly oversold. For you to go down even more, that wouldn't logically make sense in supply and demand dynamics anymore, because ultimately people care a lot about making a profit, right? People wouldn't just sell for the sake of selling, and already knowing the fact that they are, probably at a loss right now. I would say some corporations are probably at a loss, or a lot of public investors are at a loss because they bought at the top. They wouldn't just sell for the sake of selling at this point right now, because we have overly stretched the supply and demand dynamics already, that the supply is outweighing the demand so much more that for you to sell even more, you have to create some sort of incentive for people to sell in an exchange, right? So that doesn't quite logically make sense anymore. And I think on top of that, because of the fact that CNBC and some media affectation has been, saying, with respect to the technical analysis, that we see Bitcoin going all the way down to the $24,000 level or below the $24,000, like the 20,000 level, right? I think for us to do that's possible, but I would say the probability of that to be happening in the near term will be highly unlikely because again, right, with respect to the MACD and the RSI right now, that will just completely destroy the logics that we have in front of us. And I don't have any biasness towards like their analysis on CNBC and what is the incentive behind why they are saying is bearish at the moment, right? But the number is in front of us and the supply and demand dynamics and the psychology behind the trends, it paints you a story behind how investors are thinking, right? So right now, I think you could probably ask yourself like, oh, are we gonna see more of a sell off? Should we wait? I wouldn't think that way. I would think about based on how people are perceiving this on a psychological level on the chart, and dollar cost average from there to slowly build your position for long term gains. Because eventually, Bitcoin's gonna go, you know, if every corporation decide to allocate 1% of their balance sheets in Bitcoin will reach about $450,000 or 500,000 or half a million per coin, right? So think about that in that macro perspective and make your investment decisions based on the trends going forward and not be so nearsighted or like think in a short term perspective. And if you could think that way in a logical perspective, you wouldn't be scared or get shaken just by one or two, you know, unimportant media affectation news that try to influence people based on how they influence people's emotions, right? You should never want to make investment decisions based on human emotions. You should use numbers, evidentiary support, analytics, financial analysis, black and white, right? No emotion. You should feel like dead inside when you're making decisions based on pulling the trigger, right? And I think if you can do that in that mercenary perspective, you'll be a fairly successful investor. All right, so moving on to the recap on all the numbers that we just talked about today. With respect to Ethereum, I think the current price point at $2,300 level, that's a fair price point for you to get in, knowing the fact that that's a psychological resistance, with respect to the $2,450 level or the $2,300 level. That's been a consolidation platform that we've been formed for quite some time now, right? And if we were to break that because of more selling pressure, because of the weekend again, right? Or because of some sort of like foreign exchange affectation that causes a sell off, we might even get down to the $2,100 level, which I give that like a 50% in terms of probability ratio. And if we even get down to a more of a black swan sell event, right, which I really hope that we get there, the $1,750 level would be an amazing sweet spot for you to buy into to for your dollar cost average. That would be just a steal level, and I would load up, and I got lucky last time on the last Sunday, which we had that massive sell off, which subsequently got us there, and I load up. I bought 10 Ethereum from there, and I've been extremely happy ever since. And with respect to if you're buying at this moment right now, $2,300, I think 5,000 by the end of this 12-month cycle, with about 117% of an upside, 2.2 times your money from here, wouldn't be surprising to me at all. In respect to Bitcoin, I think the current price point we're kind of hovering and fluctuating at this level right now for quite some time now because this is a very strong psychological resistance level that we've been forming for quite some time now, ever since like last year. So I think this level would be a fair price for you to buy into. Just know that that's a very strong market appetite level for you to dollar cost average. And again, if we have more drag, from the foreign exchange department overseas, I think getting down to the $30,000 level wouldn't be surprising to me. But again, that will be just an opportune time for you to further dollar cost average or buy in more. And I think if we even get to more of a downward pressure because some of the international big whale or a large institution decide to sell off to get down to the $24,000 level, that would just be an amazing time for you to buy in. And I think that's an amazing price point for you to get in if you believe in this on a long-term perspective, right? Again, so Bitcoin is a limited resource, right? Is a limited supply of Bitcoin that is being disintegrate, and this basically running out, and people are buying it up more and more and more. And as we have more market adoptions across corporations, and if again, right, the 1% of balance sheets across all corporations decide to put up on Bitcoin in the balance sheets, Bitcoin hitting more than $95,000, I think we'll hit about 450,000 or close to half a million per Bitcoin, would not be surprising to me. It's just simple supply and demand logics, right? And if you were to buy it now at the $3,400-$500 level, right? At the conservative case, getting 175% of an upside or 3 times your money from here would not be surprising to me at all. So I think it's a fair level for you to buy in. And this weekend is coming into becoming a opportune investing time for a lot of folks. So if you have time, step out of your parties, or with your family, get on your Coinbase app while everybody are missing out on this. I would totally just buy up on this level to further dollar cost average and build your position from there, and you will think. Okay, so that's it for today with respect to my technical analysis on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys all have a great weekend so far, and Memorial Day weekend with your family and your loved ones. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, also that bell notification, and please stay tuned for the next video coming up. Thank you guys. Take care.